A shout out to all the DDO players out there. This is Travis Willingham. Be sure to check out the classic module, Against the Slave Lords.
Hello, how's it going? Yeah, I've found a couple of little promos that Mr. Willingham did. Just a couple of the late second. Hey, thanks. It's cool. They were lost for a little bit, but now they're found, so that's cool. Thank you. Hello, welcome to Friday afternoon here on twitch.tv/DDO stream and youtube.com/Dungeons and Dragons/live. I'm DDO's Community Manager Cordovan. I'm basically wrapping up my tour of Galanda here with more Slave Lords content on Heroic, Kobold Killa, Warlock Arty, Warty, Pew pew pew. How's it going, everyone? Thanks for joining me live. I really appreciate it. We will archive these videos as well. You can find them on Twitch and YouTube. If you subscribe to us on YouTube, you'll get all these videos in your subscription feed. You can also subscribe to specific playlist shows. I've got them all sorted out by whichever show we have on DDO stream. So if you just want to check out a couple shows rather than all of them, you can do that as well. This is the Weekend O Treasure. As of yesterday, we kicked off a +10 Treasure Hunters boost, along with a +2 loot boost. So all the loots. And we can talk a little bit about what that means, because I know we had some questions on the forums about it. Be happy to sort of get a little crunchy, if possible, on what exactly all this means. What does it mean? Guys, got any big weekend plans? I myself have a relatively rare weekend off, except I'm going to be on DDO Cast, and I believe that's 1 o'clock Eastern tomorrow, and that should be on twitch.tv/DDOcast. We're going to get into Kenneth crafting. So, if you're interested in finding out more about Kenneth crafting, getting your questions answered, I'm sure Patrick and his guests, other than myself, will have all sorts of good tips. And I'm just there to kind of help look things up and provide my special brand of ignorance. Cool. Hey, Kane Corin. Finally got a good graphic card, you're right. A GeForce 750 Ti. Ooh. That's nice. I don't have anything like that. At home, I have to be honest, at home my computer is really starting to show its age. I mean, seriously. It's pretty rough. What do you guys think? Think we could probably try this one on Elite? I know we've been kind of tearing through hard in recent goes. Give it a shot. Yeah, it's really starting to show its age. Even though I've got a SSD now. I popped in just like a year or so ago a 160 gig SSD for games. But otherwise I'm still using the old digital bits and the old RAM and everything from really a computer that's about 7 years old now. It was top of the line at the time, or pretty close to it. So it still had a long life, but I'm really noticing when I start to, say, boot up DDO or a Locher or something at work, and then go home and do it, I'm like... So, it's maybe time for me to upgrade. But, the pain of the PC gamer. That's why I'm generally a console guy. But heck yeah, those GeForce 750s are pretty great. If you haven't played DDO in Ultra High, you know, some people, you see it on the forums, it's like, oh, the DDO's starting to look kind of old and everything. I tend to find that those are people who aren't playing on ultra-high settings. If you can jack up your graphic settings, I think you'll find that the game still holds up surprisingly well for being a 10-year-old game.
The slavers have set up an outpost there.
Because we have done updates and stuff, but
I'd expect you'll find the information you need to track the slave lords back to their lair.
Sometimes I'll get screenshots, and I got one a couple weeks ago, and they're like, I'm sending in the screenshot, but man, your game just doesn't look that good. And then I'm like, well, you're playing on like medium, so maybe that's the problem. Sorry.
The path leads to an ancient wall. The symbol of the slave lords hangs above the crumbling gateway. A poorly disguised secret door can be seen at the rear of this alcove.
I'm not trying to minimize people's criticism, I'm just saying. DDO can still look really good, I think. At least that's my experience. So anyway, this is, I mean, there is not, if you've got a treasure hunter's elixir that you won from Daily Dice, or, you know, if you picked one up for turbine points or whatever, I am going to say this is the weekend for you. So what the treasure hunter's boost does is a plus 10. So when you open a chest, and some of this is kind of faked numbers that, so I'm not entirely being accurate here, but let's just say that when you open a chest, there is a loot roll from 1 to 100. It's something like that. 1 to 10, crap loot. 10 to 20, basically crap loot. You know, et cetera, right? And that'll determine everything from how many extra things you get to the quality of the things you get to what have you. This is going to add 10 to that roll. And there's a chance as you get higher up in the roll that you actually can go into higher level loot tables. So let's say on your first roll you roll like a 98, for example. That'll say, okay, you get this, and a pick from the next table up. And so you'll do that. And if you roll randomly really high in the next table, you can actually jump up to the table above that. You know, that's how theoretically, under miraculous conditions, you could pull a really decent quality tome out of a level 1 quest. It's not actually going to happen because the odds of it are so astronomically low
the door
that
here appears to have been destroyed,
it's practically
and
impossible.
hastily repaired.
But it is theoretically possible. And so what happens is you'll go up on tables, and this, it'll also affect, you know, hey, did you get a extra effect on the item? You know, as a masterful craftsmanship, things like that. How do you know you rolled well? Well, you'll see when we open a chest like this beam of blue light that'll pop out of it. If you've ever taken a treasure hunter's elixir, you'll see that beam of light. That's basically the game giving you feedback that, hey, you rolled good. And you'll see that without having a purchased treasure hunter's boost active during these bonus weekends. So this weekend you'll start seeing, you know, lights coming from chests and generally much higher quality loot, along with really the odds of getting significantly higher loot by rolling up on the table and all that sort of thing. And all this stacks with the treasure hunter's elixir. So a plus 10 boost alone is like so good that the guy who designed, you know, No Worries was like, really? Plus 10? Serious? It stacks with all the... Lovely. It stacks with all the potions that you would take, too. So not only are you getting a plus 10, but you can get up to, what, plus 15 on the treasure hunter's elixirs? That's like plus 25! Which is just, like, really, really good at increasing your odds at getting really good stuff. So if that's you, if you're sitting on a treasure hunter's elixir, then you're like looking for the right time to use it this weekend. Got the extra turbine points, I might recommend it. If that is of importance to you. I'm not trying to tell people to spend their hard-earned money. But if you ever thought you might want to, this is the weekend to do it. It will not affect the drop rate of named items. Typically, and you know, over the course of the past decade, there are various loot systems in effect and various devs, and some loot tables got updated, some didn't, etc., etc. So it's not all 100% consistent, but in general, named loot, like that you'll find from an end chest or end rewards or something like that, is its own separate percentage. So you'll get your typical loot roll from the chest. You know, like, hey, you get armor and rings and bracers and all the rest. And then there'll be a separate roll of, like, Okay, so on normal there's a 5% chance to get the Ring of Awesomeness. On hard it's 10, and on elite it's 20, or something like that. Something like that. And so that percentage chance is still its own separate chance and is not boosted by the Treasure Hunter's elixir. Or boost. So it doesn't increase your chance to get named items, but it significantly increases your chance to get good random loot. And there's a lot of kind of specifics that are hard to answer, like, well, what about this particular crafting ingredient that drops in a chest? Is that boosted, you know? There was one on the forums today which is like, well, what about iron stones from the harbor? Does it increase the chance to get iron stones? Some of that's yes, some of that's no. It all kind of depends on how it was implemented. So typically things that are newer would probably be a yes. Things that are, let's say, really old might be more likely to be a no. Kind of, even that's not really the case. So it's a little inconsistent when you get into, like, hyper granular. But we can absolutely say that it increases your chance to get good random loot. And to the extent that things like tomes and crafting ingredients and all that live on higher loot roll tables, that'll boost that chance as well. Titan says, no chat overlay? Nah, I haven't done that yet. I have to be honest, I kind of have a mixed opinion on putting Twitch chat in video. But I'll do it for you guys if you want. It just opens us up for trolling and things like that. But I suppose people want to read this stuff. Bortex73 says, can I give an ETA for the Monk Favored Soul Pass? Yes. We are currently actively working on the Monk, and that'll be next. After the Monk will be Favored Soul. I think it is more likely that they will be released separately than together. So, for example, it may well be Monk is 33, Favored Soul is 34. Or Monk is 33 and Favored Soul is a patch to 33. Something like that. But I can tell you, yes, the Monk is actively being worked on this week. As a matter of fact, I mentioned this in party chat last night and stuff, but I heard the words yesterday. Hand wraps, and they just work. And I was like, what? I have never heard those words said in combination. So, apparently we made some real good progress. And that's awesome. Oh, that's the other thing, Civic Spoon, right? Because if you watch the archive, you can see the chat in the chat room anyway with, like, rechat. So. Yep, Jerry finds traps as usual, King Corn has a suggestion about splitting out Epic and Heroic Favor so that you can better know whether you've done Heroic, Elite, or if I have Epic Normal only, for example. That's good feedback. It would probably be part of a larger UI overhaul.
The plants sway gently, even though there is no wind.
But it's something. So the way I typically do it, and I know this flies in the face of people who like their bravery bonus, but like when I ran Slave Lords on the live servers on my character, I do normal, hard, elite. Normal, hard, elite. And that's how I run through all those quests. First time bonus on all of them. That way when I pick up, I'm like, let's see, did I do part 2 on hard? I can just check and my Adventure Compendium's active. Yeah, that means I lose my bravery bonus at the start, but you know what? I don't think people care too much about bravery bonus. The amount of energy I waste trying to keep that extra 50% or 25% rather, it's not worth it to me. I will earn far more XP just running the quest in the way I know how. And that means I don't run into that issue of not knowing whether I've got a first-time bonus sitting there for a lower difficulty. Your mileage may vary. Statements made by Community Manager Cordovan should not be read as endorsements of any product, service, or turbine position. Yeah.
The sound of a door opening can be heard in the distance.
So, the good thing about Monk is if that continues to hold true in terms of development, that is really good news. Because what that would mean is that perhaps rather than now all of a sudden all the old hand wraps are junk, it might even be that we could just sort of fix all the existing hand wraps as well as new ones moving forward. If that actually happens, that would be pretty awesome. We're also going to be working on the enhancement trees for the Monk. I have already seen some work in the Players' Council about Qintao and the rest. After that, I believe the person, frankly, who's working on Monk right now will turn their attention to Favored Soul. And I don't know that Favored Soul as it currently stands is going to be quite as traumatic, in part because I think Favored Soul is perhaps in a somewhat better position than Monk is right now, in terms of the quality of the enhancement trees. But clearly some work needs to be done, and that will be done. Kane Corrin is basically saying, I want to know if I have mail or look at my character stats on the website. Any chance of having that come back? I'm going to say no. Odds of us doing a My DDO-like thing in the future are just nil. Basically didn't work very well the first time around. The amount of work it would take to really make it be what I think everyone would want it to be is... I don't know, it's just not worth it. Not that I'm against it. And if the devs came to me and said, hey, what if we did that? I'd be like, yeah. But I think from a practical perspective, to re-engineer a whole sort of API system and everything is just unlikely. In case you guys don't know, this is old information. So there's probably a whole bunch of you who are just like, I don't even know what you're talking about. But really, it was reincarnation that busted My DDO. My DDO just couldn't handle multiple lives. That sort of burn to the ground and recreate characters would just screw up the data in a big bad way. And that's why everyone's character had inaccurate information and old levels and all the rest. Because it just couldn't understand how reincarnation worked. So you'd do what, your second or third reincarnation, and then suddenly My DDO would just flat out stop updating for you. And that's what was going on. And I think we'd have that same problem where we'd try to re-engineer something. That's not to say it couldn't be fixed, it's just to say that it would be a big issue that would have to be dealt with. Hey Renwa, how you doing? I read your XKCD link on Facebook today. I thought it was hilarious. Yep. How you doing? Hope the world post turbines treating you well. Yeah, we miss you too. You were great to have. Where are my monk changes? Steel Star is actively working on them. He spent, I think, basically the entire week working on it this week. So, we've made progress. And it's actually, for at least based on people saying, hey, things are going good. I think things are going good. Actually, here's a question I could have for you. So one of the few things that we so far are dealing with in regard to the hand wrap changes is that everything is just, like I say, just working, which is just incredible. Except for Quivering Palm. And it works with hand wraps, but right now you can use Quivering Palm unarmed, you know, without any weapons equipped. And under the current setup, unless we do something to fix it, you'll have to have hand wraps on to do Quivering Palm. In your opinion, is that a big deal? We were trying to think, just like, okay, so is there any situation where it's like, oh no, you've got to be unarmed if you're going to do a Quivering Palm thing. But I couldn't think of anything where the reason to be unarmed would be such that we need to scrap and start over, essentially. Seems like if you're really focused on Quivering Palm, you're probably using hand wraps anyway. Or is there some kind of combination or something that I'm just not thinking of? Someone's basically saying, can we fix Iron Defenders? Their AI breaks too often. That would certainly be something that we'll be looking at when we get to updating Artificer. 100%. Typically what you can do is you can reset their AI by calling them to you and then toggling passive-active back, and that'll reset their AI and get them working again for a little while. Vortex says, if I donate 10 million, can we hire another team to do a favored soul pass? Probably. I think 10 million would buy a favored soul pass. But I'm not serious. I don't think they'd accept your money. Laref says, can the favored soul pass give us our wings without charges back? LOB isn't really endgame anymore. It's a good question. It's a good comment. I wouldn't mind that. They do tend to recharge fairly quickly, so I really haven't had too much of a charge issue with my favorite soul wings. But perhaps, you know, you may well be correct that the days where that was something we had to deal with is kind of in our past, so there's no real reason to keep it. Or maybe there is. But it seems like a cooldown would work just as well. In my opinion, someone says Quivering Palm should be hand wraps, unarmed, only, no weapons. Yeah, so that's the thing, Renoir. Right now, it won't work with unarmed under the changes. And the question I have is, can anybody think of a reason why that's a big deal, essentially? Because as far as I'm concerned, I can't think of a situation where, say, a Quivering Palm build has to be unarmed as opposed to wearing hand wraps. Or wouldn't probably be wearing hand wraps anyway. But I don't play a Monk Quivering Palm build. So if there's someone out there who can correct me or provide more information, I'd love to know it. Okay, yeah, so Renwa raises a point which would be like, well, hand wraps do tend to have light durability, so they could break on you, and then that would mean that your quivering palm wouldn't work. Yeah, okay, that's valid. Perhaps it's something you would just need to, adjust to. But, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Welcome, welcome. Are ninja spies getting an insta-kill? I don't know, was a good question. I can bring that up to Steel Star. Oh, Larafe says, cooldown was deemed worse than the charges back then, and I agree, but if we could just get the old version back, it'd already help a lot. Well, there would have to be one or the other. I think that the odds that if you were able to just spam wing, 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 wing with like a 1 second cooldown, the odds that that could cause exploit unintended consequence problems are moderately high, I would think. So there's going to have to be some kind of gate in place. Because even Monk Abundant Step has a cooldown, doesn't it? It's not a real long one, but it exists. We're a ways from a shrine. Maybe I should try to go back. Trying to figure out how I should take care of this. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, both Abundant Step and the Favored Soul Wings have a 3-second cooldown already. It's just that Monk is limited by key, and Favored Soul is spell points plus charges. Yeah, that's true. I would... Correct me if I'm wrong, because again, like I say, I'm not a huge Monk player. But you're more likely to run out of key than you are spell points. I'll let Turbine res us. Just a second. Because the key cost, monks are like, it's only like 5 spell points for a Favored Soul, and geez, I've got a level 28 Favored Soul, and I'm sitting at something relatively easily at 2,700 spell points. That's a lot of Favored Soul Wings. But like I say, I mean, I appreciate the feedback. My personal experience is that the charges on the Favored Soul Wings has been pretty much a non-issue. even when I've been spamming it, they recharge pretty quickly. So you may have to pause a couple seconds, but that's about it. Like, I use it just to get around the world more often than not. If you ever see a guy leaving a trail of Favored Soul Wing debris, and like through Valanus on his way to the crafting hall or whatever, it might be me. I tend to do that a lot. I just get lazy. I've got it hotkeyed, so I just go bonk, 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 bonk. Use it to get myself through public areas and such. Thanks, Sly Mother. Saying, congrats on DDO's 10th anniversary, still going strong, keep up the good work, thanks. Yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, and I'm sure probably everyone who's watching this has, but if you haven't seen our producer's letter yet, it got released this week. And we talk about our plans for the next couple of updates. So, check it out if you would like. I would say that there are a couple of biggies that didn't make it into the producer's letter. And the reason they didn't make it into the producer's letter is we were not 100% confident that we're going to be able to, you know, it's going to be released when it's ready. And is it likely to be ready in time is probably, but maybe not. And so we kind of held back on it. There's at least 2 things that are coming that I know of that are probably more likely than not to be in the next 2 updates that weren't even mentioned in the producer's letter. A spooky rune arm that shoots ghosts. I love it. I haven't heard of that, but I love it. Yes. I can go woo. Well, it's true that they do recharge more quickly in public areas than in quests, but yeah. Or actually, you're right, they don't recharge in quests. Still, nonetheless, I have not really found Favored Soul Wing recharging to be a big deal. But I'm also not against the idea. I'd be down for it. But I wouldn't want it if it meant an increase in the spell point cost as a limit. Because I kind of like having 5 spell point. Favorite soul wings. I kind of prefer Quivering Palm, but that's just me. Or not Quivering Palm, but Abundant Step. I know, the idea of Great Rune Arms is unlimited. I want a Beholder Rune Arm that shoots eyes. You could scale down the eyes from like the Harbinger of Madness quest, turn them into little arrows, and then gonna have like a beholder on your arm that goes and shoots little eyeballs out. Yeah. Who wants to play Kobold as a playable race? Well, apparently not that many people on the forums. Hey, Waltz Worker over on YouTube and Cinderin76. What level am I running? It's all blurred on his screen. It's a level 11 character right now. So we're on the heroic side, and we're running against the slave lords, the first quest in the 3-quest chain on Elite. Heroic Elite. I do like the idea of a Christmas tree rune arm with little Christmas lights as well. I like it. I don't know about you guys, but ever since Kenneth Crafting has been updated, I am now a collectible collector. I always kind of collected them, but now I hardcore collect them. Someone raised this, gosh, was it on the live stream or was it in a Turbine meeting, that we don't have a Scorpion Mortal Kombat equivalent of a get over here for rune arm, and that would be kind of awesome too. Some kind of, like, you know, barbed spike thing that would shoot out from your arm and drag opponents to you. That'd be really cool too. What about Dragonborn Titan? What about Dragonborn? It, as in the producer's letter, it's something we are considering. Yeah, Extendomatic. Yeah, I like it. We could be all meta and call it like the Scorpion's rune arm. Yeah, we are investigating, you know, Dragonborn as a playable race, along with the potential for Kobold. Although, you know, based on the pretty overwhelming feedback from the poll we did, I think it's more likely we'll head toward Dragonborn. But never say never. Yes, and Darren76, that'd be nice. You can friend up Kobold Killa if you see me on. I don't play in Galanda a lot during my regular play hours, just because I can't. I'm on every server, but I can't be on every server, you know what I mean? So I'm more likely to play right now on Thelanis and Kyber and Sarlona and Wayfinder. Those are probably the big four that I'm more likely to play on right now. But I have a whole bunch of characters on just about every server. This is actually, except for Galanda, this is actually the one I've got on Galanda that's in any state of development. It is kind of a joke build to begin with. Well, see, they're not called traps because you're supposed to avoid them. They're called traps because they're supposed to kill you. Oh. I do like Galanda. Like that's part of the reason I'm creating characters and leveling them up on the live stream like this is because, you know, over time I'm actually going to have quote legit characters on every server. It's just going to take a while, and this person being that the entire basis is pew 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 rather than any sort of statistical benefit. I don't know that this one will ever count unless I do a pure LR or something like that. But whatever, man. It's a concept build. Yeah. Yeah, you do need to stock up on thieves' tools for this chain. It's a biggie when it comes to traps. But that's consistent with the OG module as well, because, you know, you're invading the slavers', you know, strongholds, and that's one of their main forms of protection is like deception, traps, things like that. So thematically, it fits pretty well with the classic module. Hey, Mistwalker67, nice to see you. We've got that that air trap coming up here. Can we get you, Rostov, to find and disable it? Yeah, Morrigan was great to have on the stream. I liked him having liked him on the stream as well. But if he wants to come back, he's got a spot. So the nice thing I've found, actually, if there's any benefit at all to this Gimpy Pew 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 build, it's that, you know, the Eldritch Blast has a decent range, but a shorter range than the Rune Arm. So the Rune Arm is a great way to ping a guy and bring him to me so that they're within range of my Eldritch Blast. That's actually proven moderately useful for this particular setup. Like this guy, I'm not hitting him with my Eldritch Blast. It's too far. But my Rune Arm will ping him, and then if they're the movable mob come towards me, then I can start hitting them with the Eldritch Blast, which do the real damage, so to speak. Yeah, I've actually been staying up pretty late myself. If I look a little tired this week, it's because of Slave Lords. Just about every night this week, I've been logging in with some friends and stuff and just farming the heck out of these quests. It really makes a difference if you are going for the collectibles to update your multi-slot items. run it at least on hard, and preferably on elite here, because you'll just get an order of magnitude more ingredients that'll make that crafting process go much more quickly. Oh, that's interesting, Cleavebeard. I didn't know that. You can run through the wind traps if you just keep running after it is set off. But if you stop even for a second, you'll get blown off. Cool. Running on normal is pointless if you're trying to make an item. Well, I don't know if I'd say pointless, but certainly not very time efficient. Because you'll just typically get one, maybe two, of the ingredient as opposed to, what, 5 to 8? Up to a dozen or so on Elite. But I suppose if you were close but not quite there yet, and you just wanted to get it quickly, you could farm a couple of normal runs to get your stuff. And certainly for the base items, although base items aren't really a problem with this crafting system. You know, they drop very plentifully. But theoretically, if you were missing a specific item that you wanted to craft up, normal might be the way to go on that too. You're right, I don't actually play my Warlock very well. I really need to spend more time and figure it out. I just kind of... I don't do a lot of tactics with it. Mortal says, are we talking Kenneth crafting or slaver crafting? Yeah, slaver crafting. It would take months on normal? Yeah, probably. Depends how quickly you could farm, I guess. But yeah, if you're going for ingredients, don't run it on normal, unless you have to, I guess. Aldrin92 says, is it normal that everyone in the party does not get ingredients from the chest? I ran with my party on Monday night, and we did not have even one chest that gave everyone ingredients. It's not normal, although if the chest is ransacked, that might cause that behavior, and that would be working as intended. So perhaps if you've been ransacking the chest, that could cause it? It's the best I can think of. I haven't personally seen that myself, but but then I tend to switch characters and play a bunch of alts. So I rarely ransack chests. Ingredient chests don't ransack. Yeah, see, that makes sense, right? Okay. Well, I don't know then. To be honest, I've not heard nor seen other comments about that. If anyone else is having that experience, please let me know. Something we can look into. Now, what the other thing is, some of the multi-slot items look a little bit like ingredients, but aren't. So perhaps you're getting the items and thinking they're ingredients, or someone is? It's not everybody would be guaranteed to get the items. But if you're saying just purely empty chest, then that's news to me. I've not seen any other reports of that. Well, that's clearly something we'd want to know more about if it's happening. I'm not saying it's not happening, just saying that you're the first person to report it. So. Oh, there are like some slaves and stuff in here. We want to get the Orc War Chanters and stuff, don't we? Get that chest? Yeah, these traps hit pretty hard on Elite, that's for sure. Working as intended. Oh, well, it's possible if it's on casual. Maybe you're right. I've not run it on casual, so I don't know. But that would not surprise me if the baseline for running on normal is essentially single ingredients, that the penalty for running it even easier would be inconsistent ingredients. So I'm gonna, yeah, that would probably be the issue then. I appreciate it, thanks. Yep. And the reason, as they say in chat, they would be running it on casual is because they're only level 23. Or
a group of orcs stand around a cauldron, chanting in their harsh tongue. The witch doctor looks up and says,
Adventurers! Oh, I love adventurers. Nobody complains when I break them.
Jeepers, criminy. Man. I ain't doing so good. Need a shrine. That's what 3 deaths? No, that's more than that. I ain't doing so good. My character is in pain. But I'm running it on lead.
The witch doctor cries.
Servants, defend me!
The witch doctor gives a final cry and then falls silent.
Yeah, it is a short leash. That's interesting. Yeah, we're in pretty rough shape here. Anyone think maybe we should, well, Did everyone use the shrine back there? Otherwise, we probably should go back and use that shrine. Did we disable all these traps on the way in? Or are we going to have to deal with them again? Hey, Cruxus. Haven't seen you here in a little while. Nice to see you. Okay, so LD92950 is over on the YouTube, doing some chat. What's with the super locked chest in part 2? My understanding is it's just not working. If a magic user jumps up on the tent, you can trap him under there. Interesting. Yeah, the floor traps, I figured they would. Yeah, I know they reset, I just wasn't sure if they had reset. Let's see. I can show you this. Oops. Stunning. Ah, get away from me! You can actually damage the mobs as well through the traps. Yeah, I've been doing that as well. That's the one cool thing about it. Yeah, I think that's just not working. Stair Wars. I like it. What level Warlock? Let's see, I've got 2 levels already for the Rune Arm, so it'd be level 9 Warlock. LD2950 over on YouTube says, are they considering adjusting the difficulty of the mobs? On normal and hard, they're pretty easy. Red names are fine though. I don't know of any... I have not heard any comments of like, oh, we really need to do something. Overall, I think people have been finding the balance not too bad on this. But if you feel otherwise, clearly, you know, it's a valid opinion. Don't I have Avard's Black Tentacles? No. Let's see. This character was made as a joke, so... I just have a couple things in Enlightened Spirit. That's all I got. A little bit of Tainted Scholar. I'm a gimp. Severe stunning blow. Wow. You're right, Evard's Black Tentacles does truly decimate. But, nope, okay. Like I say, the main thing is to be the max pew build. So I'm going to get a Lantern Archon and, you know, the Rune Arm and some other things. So the idea is to have independent pewing going on as much as possible at one time. How far off is the Rizia Ice Games? The Rizia Ice Games are going to be their typical time, which is probably going to be January, February, something like that. Usually the way it works is around kind of mid-December we kick off Festival, and that goes for about a month. And then after Festival comes Rizia and Midnight. Ah, the old only high-intensity light sources build. Yeah, I know, right? Come on, man, I want to go pew, 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 pew. Rocket cannon. Shoulder rocket. I like Implosion the best, Wisman says. Yeah, it is a toss-up. Implosion was the undisputed winner of Awesome, but Evard's Black Tentacles is a pretty good contender, so... No, Titan, I'm not going to lay off on the Rune Arms. Come on, great ideas never go out of style. Just because I can think of 100 incredibly awesome Rune Arms. No, okay. LD2950 again on YouTube says, just curious, I realize some people may think they are not that easy. Yeah, I mean, in general, I haven't seen a lot of overwhelming feedback that we really need to start dealing with that. But I'd like to hit this chest if we can, over here. Take care of these war chanters and such. Do you guys want to do that?
The Orc Chieftain growls as you approach. You must be pretty stupid to come in here. I'm gonna smash you so hard, they'll never find the pieces. You're pretty tough for a little bug. The Orc Chieftain hovers on the crash.
Give Rangers some love? We did actually not that long ago, because we did, what, some changes to Deepwood Stalker and stuff? I guess it was maybe a year plus now. I'm so bad at this game. Oh my gosh. What server will I be on next? So starting on Wednesday, it'll be Kyber. And that means it'll most likely be on our MOG, which is currently level 26, I think? 26, 27, something like that. Getting Trust in the Shroud tattooed on you. That's pretty funny. I've actually I don't have any tattoos because I'm a wimp and broke. And if I have a couple other books, I'm probably buying video games with it rather than a tattoo. But if I were to get a tattoo, I would get Vela. I would get one of the, like a dragon on my arm. If we got the lever, let's just go. You don't need to solve the puzzle if you have the, if you were able to unlock the lever. I thought they just, oh, okay, yeah. For some reason I thought the chest didn't spawn if you use the lever. There have been times where I've almost started the process of getting that Vela tattoo, but then I'm just like, man, a nice big colored tattoo, I mean, that can run you like $1,000. If I've got $1,000, the list of things I would rather spend it on is moderately high. Titan says, Armagh was one of those can't pronounce names, right? Yeah, it was basically the old Beefheart the vegetarian got kicked out of Stormreach for killing too many people by hiring them to try to bring tofu from far-off lands. And when he tried to sneak back into the city, they were like, who are you? And he was like, my name's and that guy was like, Armagh. That's the lore behind that name. One more question from LD. What in God's name do we have to do to break their PR so we hit with orange numbers? You are talking presumably about the final battle in part 3 of Slavers. If that's true, then there's a clue a gameplay related clue that they will happen when you're in that quest. I guess I could spoil it. So you'll see like a barrier go up against the named guy. When that barrier's up, the 2 minions are vulnerable. And when the barrier is down, or no, it's vice. When the barrier's up, the 2 minions are vulnerable, and when the barrier's down, the 2 minions are not, and the other guy's vulnerable. So you want to switch off your DPS between the characters based on what is happening at the time. Oh, no, he's just saying for legendary and emods, they only hit for yellow numbers. Well, they got PRR. They got a lot of PRR and MRR and DR. So maybe there's not much you can do. Unless you can... Yeah. But legendary elite, right? That's sort of the whole point. You're right, tattoos are cool, though. In a perfect world. Someone drag us back to the shrine, maybe. Unless... Oh, there we go. Nicely done, thank you. Why don't we permanently hide the "You Have Died" panel? Man, you're right. We totally did. Wish that would work. It's bugged. We should fix it. Oh, gnomes can't have glowy eyes? Really? I have to try it. That's too bad. Oh, no, not here. There we go. Hey, Dag, how's it going? Nice to see you.
You freed many slaves from the grip of the slave lords. Dame Gold will be pleased.
Cool. Mistwalker67, next time I'm up in the Boston area, I'll bring my tattoo artist with me. We'll have a Tats for Turbine Day. I like this idea. I like this idea a lot. We can live stream everyone getting tattoos. You don't want a tattoo? Tough. Yep.
slave
Which
lord
dev
looks you
is working
over.
on the character bank stuff in the
Yes,
producer's letter?
you
That would
fetch a
be
fine price. Once
someone
you're
who
properly
doesn't
broken.
have a forum name, but is an
Guards,
engineer.
Take them alive if you can. If not, well, it won't be a complete loss.
Yeah, not every member of the team really wants to do the whole public-facing thing, right?
The
It's like,
slave
"Oh."
lord grunts. Very well. I have other ways.
If you're a community manager, guess what? You gotta be on the forums. If you're a DDO engineer, not if you don't want to.
The slave lord crumples into a lifeless heap. Now to search for clues to the location of the other slavers.
Come on, doggy. Good doggy. There we go. Alright. That was not easy, but we managed. You know, I think this might actually be my first time running it on Heroic Elite on the live servers.
The manifest describes it keeps some distance from here. This fortress seems to play a major role in the slave trade. More clues about the slave lords can doubtless be found there.
Yeah, thanks, LD. I really appreciate you stopping by our YouTube chat. It's nice to see some activity there. It tends to be a little on the quiet side. Alright, so that's gonna wrap it up for the live stream here today. Before I go, I'll just do my daily dice for those who care. Jeweler's Toolkit. Take that. Alright. Thanks again, everyone, for watching Friday afternoon here on twitch.tv/DDO stream and youtube.com/Dungeons & Dragons/live. We have got shows throughout the weekend. Fridays on Ice starts at 10 o'clock tonight. You can Papagayo de TR is Saturday at 6 p.m. We got shows really all weekend long. So you can find our schedule over on the Twitch page. We have a Google Calendar you can add to your cellular telephone or whatever it is that you would like to add it to. Like I say, I'll be on. I'm playing a lot of DDO this weekend, but I will be on at 1 o'clock tomorrow for DDO Cast, and that'll be at twitch.tv/DDO Cast most likely. And otherwise, I will see you all on Monday. Thanks again, everyone. Have a great weekend.